Hey guys, today we're going to learn about invasive species. An invasive species is a non-native species that affects a habitat. The effects of a native species can be positive or negative. However, it is almost always negative. There are a few cases where it is positive, but most people focus on the negative. Some of these changes include changes in the food chain. For example, in Florida during hurricanes, or Hurricane Katrina, for example, there were a lot of people who had pet pythons. And when all the damage was done, these pythons escaped into the wild. And with Florida being a nice environment for pythons, there was added a new creature at the top of the food chain, resulting in a lot of other animals being eaten other than those by alligators or something like that. This can also lead to the extinctions of a native species. When a new animal is introduced, it could maybe possibly feed on one specific species of animal, resulting in its extinction. The United States is trying to do something to control this, and it costs them approximately $138 billion a year in damage control. So I know you're thinking, how do these species get here? There are many different ways that they can get here, like what I talked about in the Florida case, where some of these animals were held as pets, but then after, natural disasters, they escaped into the wild. Other ways are through, like import and export. Like some creatures might possibly get on ships that travel over. For example, I used to live by Lake Michigan, and everywhere you went, you would see signs at like marinas and stuff, where there would be, say, please clean your boat thoroughly after entering the or after leaving the water. That way, when they went somewhere else, if there were possibly anything on their boat, it wouldn't like tag along on their ship to another area. So this leads us to how it affects us. In Michigan, there's a decent amount of invasive species: animals, insects, fish, and even plants. Some of these animals and insects are mute swans, northern snakehead fish, an Asian carp, feral swine, and the emerald ash borer. I know many of you have probably heard of Asian carp, as it's a pretty big deal lately, and they are taking over in many places, not just in Michigan. And also, the emerald ash borer. This is a pretty obvious example of the damage that these species can do. If you're ever driving down the highway, looking out the window, try and look for an area where there's a lot of dead trees and stuff. That could possibly be a result of the emerald ash borer. There are even plants that are invasive species, like the autumn olive, the black locust, the common buckthorn, the glossy buckthorn, and the Japanese knotweed. The effects of plants are a little less destructive than that of animals or insects like the emerald ash borer or the Asian carp, but nonetheless, they are still invasive species. For some more info on these invasive species, you can go to www.michigan.gov/DNR. There will be a link on the left towards the bottom called Wildlife and Habitat. If you click on that, there will be another link on the left, and it'll be invasive species. You can click on that and learn a lot more about this subject. There's a ton of other interesting animals you can learn about, and to see what you can do to try and stop these species from being more invasive. Thanks guys, have a nice day.